Hello, everyone! Neil back once again with another film review for you. And today I'm going to be taking a look at Avatar: The Way of Water. Yes, the long awaited sequel, long delayed sequel. It's been 13 years since the last one. The very first Avatar film, which broke box office records and blew our minds with its visuals and everything. I will be spoiling it, some of it anyway. I won't spoil everything, but still, spoiler alert, you've been warned, so there you go. This movie, again directed by James Cameron, of course, it's a whopping 192 minutes long. Doesn't really feel like it, though. It feels like maybe more 140. It's a little long, but it's not too bad that way, so that's good. The pacing is quite good, and they had a lot of time to really work on it, certainly, due to delays. And the reason for this 13-year delay, really, was because the performance capture scenes were done underwater. So this was fairly unprecedented, I believe. I don't think anyone's ever attempted this even before, as Cameron's always known for, his films pushing the envelope, technologically speaking, with visual effects, just blowing our minds. It's the visuals in this movie are a 10 out of 10 already, I can tell you. The rest of it, I don't know about that. But yeah, it is very, very mesmerizing. I think The Way of Water is actually even more visually mesmerizing than the first film. I really do think so. It's a rare 3D is worth it kind of situation, because a lot of these live action movies, whether they were Marvel movies or whatever they were in 3D, they just really weren't worth the cost. Animation films were often worth it, Despicable Me movies and things like that. Definitely worth the 3D there, but for live action, it's really just Avatar and this sequel that are worth the IMAX 3D. So you got to go big or go home on this one. The Na'vi and all the creatures of Pandora, they're so impressive looking. My eyes just drank in everything. But it's really about the plot, though, that is a bit of a letdown. It's a little bit kind of run of the mill, but that's the way it goes with this kind of story. It's really about revenge, and it's about family, of course. And it's not that special in terms of a storyline itself. It's really, really well done. It's so well done, but it's kind of a basic, predictable story. So that's the way that goes, But it is all about the execution. That's what really impresses. Like filmmakers dream about making movies like this and being able to really have the freedom to do it. Of course, it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make these movies. This is easily one of the most expensive movies ever made, and it's probably going to be one of the highest grossing films of all time because it's already in the billions already. This sequel, it does assume you've seen the first Avatar, certainly, which I always thought was basically kind of like Dances with Wolves on Another Planet, except, instead of the natives, it was the Na'vi, and they're much taller and blue. It was very much like that. It was very much like, a human coming into a different culture and then realizing that this culture is actually being abused by his own encampment and turned against them, right? So he joins the natives, the Na'vi in this case. But yeah, like I said, the family is obviously a huge theme here. And Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, once again, good to see him back. He now has children with Neytiri, the really long-named character, who's Zoe Saldana's character. So yeah, from the first film, of course, she's incredible. Really great voice work, I gotta say, from them. I know it's motion capture and all that too. Of course, it's a real performance, but it's really the voices that I think impressed me the most here. They have a family. They have two boys. They have a little girl, and they have an adopted female teen who's like 14 or so. And she's actually the daughter of Sigourney Weaver's character's Avatar. In the first film, her name is Kiri, actually, and Sigourney Weaver actually voices this character, and she does a young version of her own voice, and she does an excellent job here. Sigourney Weaver, and you can always count on her. Now, in terms of the antagonists, some bad guys here. Well, we don't get really new bad guys. It's the RDA again, and we get Colonel Miles Quadrich, I forget how to pronounce his name, but Stephen Lang is the actor who played him in the first film. Now he's back in terms of a mocap performance and a voiceover performance and everything, because his human version of this colonel was killed at the end of the last film by Neytiri with her arrows and everything. But but he's an Avatar now. So just like Jake Sully, he's an Avatar now. So even though the human is dead, before he died, they actually backed him up. It's like backing up video files on my hard drive. They backed him up onto a hard drive, I guess, along with a few other soldiers, some that died with him there at the end of the first film. So they're back, It's like they were dead. Nope, they're back. So here we go again with these guys. And I love Stephen Lang. He's one of my personal favorite actors. And he's a bit typecast, I think, as the villain sometimes, but that's okay. He's really good at it. So he also, actually, one more thing about the Colonel here is that he has a son that he left on Pandora. He couldn't leave because he was too young, he was too small to go into cryosleep. So this little boy, Miles Jr., is a boy that lives, and he actually is growing up into, I guess he's a teenager now, and he's grown up among the Na'vi. So he can't really breathe their air. He has to wear the mask, but he's still dressed up like Jungle Boy. He's like Tarzan, like a Na'vi, really. He's really dressed like a Na'vi, and he wants to hang out with Jake Sully and their family all the time. And they like him too, and they call him Spider. That's his nickname, or he calls himself that, I guess. He doesn't want to be known as, Miles, the son of the evil Colonel. But what happens here is that the Colonel has his Avatar troops welcomed by General Ardmore of the RDA. She's played by Edie Falco from The Sopranos and Nurse Jackie and so on. And that's cool. Nice to see her. Now, they have all these new robots, these little spider robots that can build buildings much faster, and they have these crab-like vehicles that are really cool. They're almost like Transformers. There's like one person inside, and they move like crabs. They move side to side, and they can curl into a ball and stuff. Really cool vehicles there. It'll make a really cool toy. But all of these, they are the RDA. They're stronger. Seems stronger than ever. And they're going out to find Sully. Or at least that's the Colonel's main mission anyway, is to get revenge on Sully and his wife. So Jake winds up moving his family, who are in danger. He winds up moving them to the lake, to the water area, basically, with a different kind of Na'vi. Now, when they show up, the lake Na'vi are kind of suspicious of them, as they are, forest people, basically, instead of lake people. But the lake people do reluctantly welcome them. And they bully them a little bit because they're a little bit different. They got an extra finger and things like that. So they make fun of the kids and stuff. And they get into little fights and things like that. But that's all well and good. There's this beautiful giant whale-like creature. There's actually a bunch of them. But there's one in particular that winds up befriending one of Jake's sons. And he saves his life. And they wind up helping each other throughout the way. It's very beautiful, actually. It's really lovely. And there is a really, really disturbing scene. At least it was disturbing for me, as an animal lover, watching this hunt, this whale hunt, basically, go on. And, man, that was like it made me feel like, oh, these guys are just horrible. I'd really started to hate, these hunters and all the villains in the film once they started killing these giant whales, these poor whales. What happens at the end here? I'm going to skip right to the end, okay? There's this battle on this, it's like a barge, like a headquarters on water, basically, like a hovercraft kind of thing. And it's this ginormous thing that they all fight on. Some of the kids are captured and they have to rescue them. Jake seemingly kills the Colonel, but he's actually saved by Spider. So the Spider saves his father's avatar, kind of reluctantly. One of Jake's sons dies. He gets shot. But his other son saves Jake from drowning, while Kiri winds up saving her mother and little sister, also from drowning, because they wind up getting trapped in this complex. So while there's some cliches here about revenge, and the film certainly could have been a little bit shorter, certainly, it's still really the best big budget movie out there that you can go to. If you're a fan of IMAX 3D, definitely, it's a can't miss. It's a must go, must see. It really is, I think, one of the greatest visual achievements I've ever seen. Honestly, the story, yeah, it's a bit predictable, but you know, it's just done so well. The execution is so great that you really won't care. You really won't care that the story is not really its strongest aspect. The acting and the visual effects, certainly, it all just comes together so perfectly and beautifully. James Cameron has another monster blockbuster hit on his hands. And hats off, really, hats off. So, I'm going to give Avatar, The Way of Water, an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, definitely a must watch for the visuals. All right, guys, this is Neil. Thank you so much for tuning in to these reviews. This may be the last review of 2022, or might be the first review of 2023. It depends on when I get to it. But I certainly all hope you all have a happy and safe New Year. And until next time, peace.